Good morning. I've been sitting here for a long time waiting for 4:44. I could have actually started at 3:44. I wasn't quite ready at 3:33, but I got up today. I woke up at 2:22. That was the second time in 24 hours because I took a nap. I laid down to take a nap about quarter to 2 yesterday, and 2:22 my doorbell rang. And I am a very light sleeper. I was awake instantly, looked at the clock, 2:22, today 2:22. So I've actually been out of bed since before 3 o'clock this morning. I didn't spend much time in the meditation room. I was mostly out in the atrium today looking at the cloudless sky and the stars. So it's been a quiet morning. Of course, most of my mornings are quiet, as long as the computers work okay. And anyway, today's topic is in response to things that happened yesterday and a follow-up to yesterday's topic. The title is 2012 Commentary on David Wilcock Drake Interview. Yes, I listened to all 3 hours, and I resonated greatly with almost everything that was said. There was one glaring exception. Drake made it clear that he was not part of the Republic, RuSA, or associated with Tim Turner. The first time I heard Drake a week or two ago, I felt he was working with some of Tim Turner's detractors. Yet almost everything he said was exactly what I have learned during my own association with the Republic. Today I hope to clear up some of the confusion, since many people asked about it yesterday. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get in today, if I'm going to be able to finish everything that I'd like to cover. But let me say, first of all, that before I ever even heard of the Republic, I was very much involved in Nasara, and I believed that we would ultimately have an interim government, a temporary government, in between the time that the criminals in the District of Criminals, also known as Washington, D.C., and their con game called Congress would come to an end, and there would be interim people appointed to re-educate the American public and the world public, for that matter, about the con game that had been going on by the international bankers and the Illuminati for a very long time, and how they had infiltrated virtually every aspect of our culture and society. And there's an awful lot of people like me, like Drake, like Tim Turner, and thousands, literally thousands, if not into the hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are aware of how criminal the governments in the world have become, and the institutions of banking and insurance and everything touching finance and even religion. Everything has been tainted and messed up by this con game, which has accelerated the evolution of consciousness. That's the positive side of it. The negative side is they have attempted to enslave the entire world, and they almost succeeded, but their 9/11 ploy to create martial law backfired on them and became the catalyst for the awakening. In any case, I first listened to Drake on Freedom Reigns, an interview with, what is it, Loomer, DEA. I can't even see, I can't read it. It's on my screen, but the contrast is such that I can't really make out the letters. Starts with a D and ends with an A, and it's Loomer. And he was interviewed, Drake was interviewed a week and a half maybe or so ago. I don't remember the exact time. But I listened to that interview, and there were certain people that were involved in that interview one person in particular that I think was one of Tim Turner's major detractors. Now, when I first became involved in the Republic, I started to say, Forgive me. I started to say that with Nasara, I thought there would be interim people appointed as president and vice president, and I honestly saw it as being Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich. And before I ever even heard of the Republic, that's how I thought the game was going to be played out. But then I met Michael Bishop, as I said yesterday in the video, and through Michael Bishop, I actually joined the Republic and became involved. And almost as soon as I took office as Secretary of State, there were certain factions within the Florida Free State, the Florida Republic, that began attacking me, began making demands and threats. And I thought, what the heck did I get myself involved in? You know, this isn't what I thought it was. And there were 2 or 3 times that I went to Michael and said, I feel like I want to quit. And each time he said, Ron, please hang in there. In any case, I am well aware of the crap, and that's exactly what it is, that people have been spreading about Tim Turner. One of the things that I have witnessed is that there are certain people that have infiltrated the Republic itself whose only mission, it seems, is to personally slander and attack Tim Turner. And they have a personal vendetta, and they're always putting him down. Now, I have listened to him. When I finally got a chance to meet him, either the end of last year or the beginning of this year, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was either December or January. I got a chance to meet him for the first time and listen to him make a presentation. And here's something that I pick up. The Bible says God looks at the heart. And I try to do that myself. And Tim addressed some of the insane accusations that are against him. And I'd like to see some of these people actually confront Tim face to face and talk to him about some of the things that they've accused him of and some of the things they've said about him, and listen to his side of the story. But I don't believe they're ready to do that yet. Ultimately they may, but not yet. All they want to do is attack, attack, attack. Now, I want to say this. Tim is not attacking people personally at all. He's saying that they're deceived, that they are incorrect in what they're doing, that they don't have the entire picture. But he's not personally attacking them. And I've seen that with Michael. I've seen that with some of the other people that I've had the privilege of meeting in the Republic. And I don't agree with everybody in the Republic. I want to make that clear. I was really concerned about the fundamentalist aspect of the Republic, the ones that wanted to make a theocracy. I was really concerned about that. And Spirit showed me you've got to work with people. You've got to work with people where they are. Don't look to find fault. Look for the common ground, because that's the only way you're going to accomplish anything. But there are people that refuse to look for the common ground. All they want to do is find the uncommon ground and attack the weaknesses. And does Tim Turner have weaknesses? I'm sure he does. I do. Tim Turner isn't willing to talk about everything that happens. And I don't blame him. In my personal situation in the lawsuit, there's certain information that I will not talk about, even on these videos, even as open as I am. I will not talk about it because it could put me in jeopardy. And I won't talk about those things. I'm going to protect myself to the best that I can, because I don't want to create any more problems than I need to deal with. I have enough problems without exposing myself to further attack. So I understand some of the secrecy that people have perceived with the Republic, because there's been so many people that have been naysayers and attackers. Now, let me say something. During the time that there was all the struggle going on with me in Florida, there were numerous people that tried to influence me to drop out of the Republic, that I was too good a person to get sucked into this terrible organization run by Tim Turner. I mean, I'm telling you, I have contacts around the world now. and across this country. And there were people contacting me, trying to get me to leave the republic, to drop the thing. And I would go back and I would talk to some of the people that I trusted, that I looked at their heart and I trusted them, especially Michael. And I felt strongly in my spirit, no, they're doing the right thing. They may not be perfect, and they're not. I'm not going to tell you that the republic is perfect. We are learning. None of us know how everything is done. None of us have all the answers. But I will say this, that what Drake shared with David Wilcock in that interview yesterday, almost all of it is stuff that I already knew from the Republic side, and I've confirmed it with other things like Benjamin Fulford and other people around the world that have said similar things to what I knew was going on insofar as my contact with the Republic. The new financial system and all of this other stuff. I mean, this is all stuff that the Republic has been involved in for 20 years, and it used to be Restore America plan, and there's always been this fighting. The de facto and egocentric individuals have always created problems. But there has been a core of people that have held to the vision of reestablishing the Republic, reseating the Republic based on the original paperwork and documents upon which the Republic was founded back in the 18th century. And they are the Republic, Tim Turner's Republic, is the only one that I'm aware of. I know there are many sovereignty groups. I know there are many people that want to start their own states that have almost the entire state, people that were part of the Republic decided, hey, we don't even want to be part of the national. We just want to do our own thing here in our own little state. And there are individuals that have pulled out that just wanted to do their own sovereignty thing and not be connected to anything else. And the reason I stayed with, one of the prime reasons that I stayed with the Republic is because they were doing it lawfully and peaceably. There are organizations that are advocating conflict and armed resistance to the government. The Republic isn't about that. It's peaceful and it's lawful. And when I say lawful, it means they established the foundation. They established the structure. The structure is there have to be people holding certain offices that are part of the Republic, that have signed on to the Republic and pledged their support to the Republic. Many of them have rescinded those agreements, and they're allowed to. It's not a binding contract, but it is an agreement that people make. And I made that agreement, and everybody that holds an office in the Republic made those agreements to hold the interim office. Some have risked a lot of their personal wealth because it's not something that we've been paid for. Ultimately, we expect to get paid for it, but we haven't gotten paid 1 red cent from anybody yet. Not one of us. We have held the office in trust until we can actually implement the reseating of the Republic. But one of the things that has to be done in order to gain recognition of the world trusts that are financing the changes that are happening in our world, these white knights that they're called, these good guys, the white hats, or whatever you want to call these good people, the ascended masters or whatever, the people that are actually providing the funding, they want to see, do you actually have a government in place? Are you ready to actually move in to leadership roles and help steer the ship of state back to where its foundation was laid, which is the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, to some degree the Articles of Confederation that came before the Declaration of Independence. These are the documentations, even going back as far as the Magna Carta and some of these other things. This is the foundation for our world. This is why I use 444. It's foundational. It's foundational. You have to lay the foundation. And I can just hear what some Christians will say, no other foundation can be laid than that which is laid, which is Christ the Lord. And yes, but in the world, there is structure. That is what 3 dimensions are all about. And it's not about just moving from the 3 dimensions to skip the 4th and go to the 5th dimension. It's not about that. Does it include that? Yes. But it includes redeeming that which has been lost, reconciling that which has been pushed aside and neglected. It's reconciling the lost and making the lost found, making the blind see, making the dead rise from the dead in their awakening. And this is one of the things that I look at with Tim Turner. After I listened to him, and then I went up to him after the whole day of spending there with him, I went up to him and I looked him in the eye and I chatted with him briefly and I hugged him. And what I saw in Tim Turner was a humbleness that I do not see in some of the people that are detractors and naysayers. And that's what I look for. The heart. What is the spirit? Is there integrity there? And from my perception, I see integrity in Tim Turner, which is why I trust what the Republic is doing. It's the only organization that's working across the board, getting people trained to the best of the training ability that can be done, getting people into positions so that they can take over the Republic when all of a sudden the floodgates open and millions of people all of a sudden are going to want to become part of the Republic as opposed to the corporation of criminals, the district of criminals that has been running in Washington, D.C., that have conned the entire world and tried to make slaves out of the entire world. And these have been controlled by bankers from Europe. Okay, the Illuminati, if you will. And Canada and the United States and Germany and Italy and England, these are nations that are resisting the changes by far and large. And yet the changes are happening, resistance or not. Drake was right on. I have known for a long time that the military was on board with the Republic. That's from the very beginning that was being said, from my very introduction to the Republic, that the military was backing, not 100% of the military, but factions of the military were backing what was going on with the Republic. There were people in 3-letter agencies of the United States that had come to investigate. Some of them became members of the Republic when they saw what was being done. Do I know all the names? Have I met all the people? No, I haven't. But I've heard the stories time and time again from different people. And I know that there's many good things happening with the Republic. And people, let me tell you, we need to forgive and we need to learn to work with each other, or we're going to be prey to the dastardly plans of the dark forces, if you will, that have tried to create the 1984 scenario with a combat boot on the human face, suppressing humanity forever and ever. And they don't care if they destroy the world doing it. They don't care because there's no natural empathy in these people. And yet these very people are the ones that have awakened us. They have pushed the buttons of darkness to such an extreme extent, to such a horrific extent, that people could no longer remain apathetic and complacent, that they had to wake up. So they've given us a gift in that sense. But we're watching all of these things play out. And yes, the military is going to be behind the changes that eliminate the criminality in our institutions. That has to be eliminated. And they have to go out, not the people, not the little 2-bit players that are clerks and low level people in some of these organizations. They have to go after the top people that have perpetrated this thing on the world. It has been, from God's perspective, for the good of all, because it ultimately awakens people. And so that we have the opportunity to let freedom reign, to take back our sovereignty, which has always been ours, but we didn't, if we don't know our rights, we don't have them. And if we don't exercise our sovereignty, we don't have sovereignty. And this is all part of the awakening that's going on in 2011 and 2012. I've been involved in the Republic since January 2011. I've been the Secretary of State since February 2011. I'm holding an office. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not doing a whole lot of work, although yet everything that I'm doing is for the change that the Republic brings about, that the Republic is symbolic of. It's reestablishing right government. Now, I've said before, government will ultimately not be needed to the extent that it is now, but it is needed now. And as Drake said, there's going to be a re-education program. David Wilcock has been saying that. There's got to be re-education. People need to learn how we lost our sovereignty, how we lost our government, how we lost our financial system, how it was taken from us without us even being aware of it. We have to be re-educated in what it means to be a republic as opposed to a democracy, as opposed to a corporate control, color of law, de facto organization like we've been under for 100 years in the United States. And the whole world has had the effect of that as the United States empire has tried to spread around the world and control every other country and every other individual. This is where we are in 2012. And let me tell you, folks, especially you people that want to attack, you're betraying or you're revealing to those that have wisdom and those that have a higher level of perception, you're betraying your own heart. You're revealing your own heart, that you're still trying to be antagonistic instead of being compassionate and loving. And these are the things that really matter. What is the character? The people that do the attacking, what character are they revealing? I think Drake is a wonderful man. I mean, I resonated so much with him. I don't think that there's anything wrong with what he's doing. I don't agree with his stance on Tim Turner and the Republic. Why? Because I don't think he's ever met Tim Turner. I think he got his information from other people that for some reason have a personal vendetta against that man. And some people have been hurt because they've taken his courses and his classes, and they've done things and it hasn't worked for them because they have maybe a more corrupt judge. And not all judges do the right thing. I know that from personal experience. Often the judges are criminals. Often the attorneys are criminals. Sometimes the law enforcement in local communities are criminals. This is the way it is. And so people blame Tim Turner because they learned something from him and it didn't work the way it worked for others. And so they blame Tim Turner. I'm sorry. There's more to the picture than what most people give credit for. And I challenge once again, Drake or anybody else, talk to Tim Turner. Now, the Republic made a video. ABC was supposed to do a documentary, and they actually did a documentary on the sovereignty movement. They were supposed to interview Tim Turner and others in the Republic, and then it didn't happen that way because the Republic backed down. They realized what the nature of ABC's documentary was going to be, that it was just going to be a negative portrayal, and they were going to twist everything around, which they did. And yes, I saw that video too, and somebody shared it in response to yesterday's video, and I refused to approve that. But what the Republic did do is they created a documentary, and I think it's probably close to being finished. I haven't heard the final word on that, but it will ultimately be put on YouTube for sure, and Vimeo or whatever some of these upload programs are, and it will be ultimately shown on TV to educate people as to what's going on. But let me just close by saying that the Republic, people in the Republic are visionaries that are doing our best. We are doing our best to work together to reestablish and to reseat a republic as it was founded by our forefathers, to bring freedom for everyone. And everyone wins when we learn to work together. But if we're going to keep fighting each other, nobody will win. I guarantee you that. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Abraham Lincoln and others have said that down through the ages, and it's true. We must develop a heart of compassion and love and learn to work with each other and to build that which we have in common and to help enlighten each other to see the areas that are different and to either value the differences or else transform the differences into strengths. We don't have to keep fighting each other, and we must not. I know I've gone way longer than usual, but I feel it's necessary. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate each of you, David Wilcock, Drake, Tim Turner, and everybody that's involved in helping bringing freedom back to all of us, to all of humanity. Namaste.